Now we're ready to get started on our little coaster project. This is a finished one, and I'm going to let you know what you need. So I used 2 packages of our 2 centimeter felt balls. I used Flora, which is the greeny one, and Spectrum. You could do 2 different color sets if you want. These 2 worked out really well so that we managed to have on each one a color family with an odd one on the end, and that's a nice way to keep up with your drinks. And I do recommend before you get started to lay all your little felt balls out and the little groups that you want to use to make sure you're going to have something that you like. You don't want to make 4 and get to your last one and be like, hey, none of this goes together. So you're going to need the 2 sets of felt balls if you want to do all 5. You can get maybe 2 full ones in a pattern you like if you only do 1. There's enough balls in there to do 3, but you won't have enough colors to choose from to do this sort of pattern. You're also going to want to pick an 8/0 seed bead. I picked a nice kind of teal blue color. And then to do our sewing, we're using Wildfire. This is a stringing material that's often used in bead weaving, and I'm using a little bit heavier. This is the 0.08 inches. You could go heavier if you wanted. It's just going to hold together well. And then the last thing you need is just a tapestry needle. You can get this at any sewing store. I usually have several laying around the house for various crafty things that I do. So I've already done 4 of my 5, so we can look at those. You can see, like I said, they're all one color family and then an odd color on a corner. And you'll notice that there's a seed bead on every edge. We just did that as a little decorative element, and it also is useful too, as you'll see. It acts as a stopper when we're going back and forth to sew them together so that they stay. So I've got my last one, and like I said, go ahead and lay it out the way you want it. I've got different greens, so I want to make sure that they're mixed up. Maybe. So maybe we'll. Let's put one more darker one on that corner. So that's what I'm going to go for. And if you're working on a bead tray like I am, you can just pour some of your seed beads to the side. They're not going to escape from you if they're on the tray. And for your stringing material, I have been using a 4-foot piece. Basically, I measured it from one shoulder to the other outstretched arm. And on me, that came out to be about 4 feet. And that's just going to be a long enough amount that you won't have to, you won't run out and you won't have to incorporate a new piece. It is possible to incorporate a new piece if you didn't cut one long enough, but it's just nice to avoid that. So I've got my 4-foot piece, and I'm going to just thread my needle. And you can leave a little bit of a tail there. And when I've been working on these, I've just been leaving my pattern laying out. And the way we're going to work this is we're going to work up and down first in this direction, and then we're going to switch and connect them all side to side. And as we pass an edge, we're going to put a seed bead on it. So to get started, I'm going to start the way that I mimicked. I just want to tie a knot. So I'm going to come up through the bead. And I'm going to leave just a little bit sticking off. But instead of tying like a real knot, I'm just going to catch back through just a little bit and pull it tight. Then that way you won't have to see a knot anywhere. And that's going to catch enough that this is not going to pull through. And after I've got that started, I can cut the little tail off. And while I'm on this end, because it's an end, I'm going to go ahead and put a seed bead on. You don't want to get too big of a tapestry needle because you want to make sure your seed bead will still fit over it. So that's something to think about before you get started, is to make sure your beads are going to fit on your needle. So I've got my seed bead on there, and I'm going to go right back through. Like that. And then I'm going to string up through all 4 of these. Try to keep it fairly centered when you do it. So now, there they are. And we're on an end, so we're ready to do a seed bead. And now, before we go back down through, we're headed over to this bead. So what I'm going to do when I come down through the top again to secure my seed bead is I'm going to try to angle it so that it comes out that side. So now it's coming out into this one. And you're going to do the same thing. We're going to angle. Think of it as being a 90-degree because it's one of the 4 edges. I'm going to angle up through the top on this one. Get my seed bead. And then you'll come back down through, just straight. And you're going to start working in the same fashion till you get up and down through the whole square. Alright, so I've gone ahead and strung down this side, and I'm ready to do a bead on this side. So string one of your little seed beads. Oh, that one doesn't want to fit. There we go. And remember, we're going to do that angle. So you're going to come back down through and try to come out the side towards your next one. And then the same in this one. You're going to go through the side and then come out the bottom. That guy on there, and kind of tighten as you go so you don't have any loose thread anywhere. So it's going to look a little weird until we start crossing in the other direction. But I'm going to continue up and then down, and I'll catch up with you there. Oh, I also wanted to show you, as you're going through these beads, because they're kind of dense and the needle's not particularly big, if you're having trouble gripping it, you can use a pair of pliers once you get it started. So for instance, if you were poking it through, instead of having to grip the needle with your fingers, you could pull with pliers. So I'm going to get to the first edge and then show you how to turn it. Alright, so I've worked my way up and down, so now that it's all attached in that direction, I'm at the other corner. So I need to go ahead and put another bead on. And once I get this one on, all my beads on this side and this side are going to be attached. And the way this is going to work is we're going to start going this way, back and forth. So I'm going to angle to the side. Like that. And now I'm going to start working in this direction. So I'm going to put a bead on. And then come through the side. And even though they're a lot closer together now, I still recommend going through only one bead at a time. The tapestry needle's really not long enough to go through more than one and have anything to grab onto. And see, like these two are attached already, but I'm still going to just go through one of them and then the next one. And it's okay if it doesn't go through in exactly the same spot. And don't forget, you can use your pliers if you need something to help you grip. You're just going to keep tightening as you go. So see, now the bottom row is secure. And when you get to the end, we're going to turn like we did on the other one. I'm going to go ahead and rotate my piece, and now we'll be working this way. But I've got a bead on here, and like I said, just go through one bead at a time. Even though these are already attached, just kind of come at it sideways so that you're not catching more than one of the felt balls. And then you'll go back through and come out the top. And I'm going to start coming down this way. So now I'm going to go back and forth, and I'm going to end at the purple. Okay, so I've worked in the other direction. I'm almost done. I just have to come across this row. I've already got my little bead on here. So like I said, you're going to come through one bead at a time, one felt ball at a time. You'll see it's already nice and connected down here too. So this is my last seed bead. And what I'm going to do this time is, since I don't need to go anywhere else, I'm just going to just pick up a little bit of the felt, just so it's enough to go around the seed bead. And I'm going to go back through and around a few times just to feel like it's secure. So 3 sounds good. And I'm going to just push it through so it comes out somewhere at the bottom. And now that it's been through in that little tight space a couple times, you should be good as far as knotting. And you can just trim this edge. And you've got yourself a fun little felt coaster. And if you're patient, you can have a whole matched set.